bothers me, man. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. We got to go to a break, but this Donald Trump thing really bothers me. Every time I think about it, I get upset. I've really tried to stop talking about it, but it's just amazing to me how people see, hear, and do what they want to do. I mean, despite facts hitting you right in the face. You know, I got into this little thing yesterday on Facebook with this cat. This whole story about this teacher here in Forsyth County, Georgia. I'll talk about that when we get back from the break. We got to go to a break. All right, back in 3 minutes. Hold on. Doug Stewart here to tell you about my man Smooth at smoothtickets.com. Smooth's got the tickets for everything that you need in the world of sports, concerts, or theater. I don't care what it is. I don't care where it's at in this great land of ours. My man Smooth at smoothtickets.com, he got them tickets. I'm telling you, boxing, baseball, NBA, NFL, country music concerts, hard rock, hip-hop, theater, Broadway, he's got them all. And if he don't have them, there ain't none. I'm telling you. Smoothtickets.com. Once again, that's smoothtickets.com, or give him a call at 404-374-1150. Once again, that's 404-374-1150. You gotta tell him, though, that I sent you. You gotta tell him that Doug Stewart sent you. Once again, smoothtickets.com. That's smoothtickets.com. Yeah!
The Sleeper Pick, the guy only you believe in. In 1 week fantasy football on DraftKings, he can be the difference. So trust your gut. Trust your numbers. Trust your Uncle Vito if you want. But know this, that sleeper is out there. The question is, who's going to play him? This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time.
To create your account, click on the banner link on the DougStewartShow.com or the Doug Stewart Show app. FootballSportsApp.com. What is it? It's the first live action mobile sports app played in real time and a cool way to immerse yourself in the game. Make coaching calls just like the pros. Check out the video. Download for free this fall and register now again at FootballSportsApp.com. Want to be part of this new exciting technology and make money? Fill out the short form at the bottom of the website and mention TDSS. Again, FootballSportsApp.com. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. I want to quickly mention Sports Talk, Guy Talk with Hot Sauce. Thank you so much for joining your boy. I want to quickly mention this Heisman latest. For the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the Heisman Trophy and, you know, cats going up, cats going down, stock going up, stock going down, or whatever, man. Today, and I've been using ESPN's quote-unquote experts, you know, for the weekly changes in that. But this week is it didn't following pattern. You know, I'll talk about it in a second. I'll get to it in a second. But for some reason, this week is not following pattern based on how they've done it before. We'll talk about that. But before we went to the break, I was talking about how yesterday I got into it to a small degree on my social media, on my Facebook yesterday, with this with some person I can only categorize as an idiot. So there's this story going on, and maybe this is national at this point, but there's this teacher that's in this particular county here in Georgia, Forsyth County, that's got a long history of racial tension and divide. But there's this teacher that posted some comments about FLOTUS, Michelle Obama, and calling her a gorilla. Okay, you try to, compare a black person to an ape, a gorilla, anything like that. That's automatically categorized in this country as you being a racist. Trying to say black people are monkeys. This is stuff that they used to throw around back in, when we first got off the boat. All right, so you said something like that, and they fired her ass, which is obvious. But the point that I made, I actually shared the story on my timeline, which I've been doing. I've pretty much been sharing something dealing with Black Lives Matter or social injustice in this country pretty much every day, ever since maybe the week of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling. That happened very close together. Pretty much every day. Not every day, but every other day. No lie. That's what I've been doing, because I just feel like I don't want people to just forget about the stuff and move on, and we do it again. So I'm trying to keep it in everyone's timeline and keep everyone's attention to it. So I posted this story yesterday, and sure as my name ain't Sam, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, some guy comes in the chat room because I posted it to the public, not just to my friends. Some guy comes into the chat room and tried to make all these excuses for the lady. Oh, you don't have to like someone to work with them or to respect them. If you don't like someone, that doesn't mean you're racist. All of this tomfoolery, And I made this, the point that I made when I posted the story is imagine how this lady's biases have come into play, have manifested themselves over her 25 years of teaching kids. And these were like elementary school kids. Like, can you imagine somebody that has that mindset and that boldness to, on a social platform, post something like that, something racial like that about the First Lady of the United States of America? So in my mind, I'm thinking, and everyone else pretty much agrees with me except for this guy and, a certain demographic of society, everyone else agrees with me that at some point in 25 plus years, I think it was 27 years of teaching small children, how many times her personal biases came into play and how she treated said little black kids. Think about that. It's almost like having a member of the KKK being a federal judge. Imagine what he impacts as far as laws, as far as, the judicial system in our country. You may not know it, but this cat's a KKK member, and, he has a high rate of just sending black people to jail for the same crimes that someone else commits. And so I equated it to this thing with this lady. And this cat comes in and, oh, man, you're wrong. It ain't always racism. Now, I want to ask white people this question. and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. When is it racism? Like, if you ask white people, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and let me say this right now, but whenever I start talking about black people, white people, whatever, inevitably someone's going to say, oh, Doug, you're racist. That's couldn't be further from the truth. And I don't even really feel like I should have to say this because people know me. That couldn't be further from the truth. But let me just say this, and I say this all the time. Because I'm pro-black, because I'm pro not wanting to see black people get killed in the streets like animals, doesn't mean I'm anti-white. You understand? It's as simple as that. You have never heard me in 16 years belittle white people in any regard. What I've done is tell the other side of the story from a black perspective. And what I've done is try to bring attention to injustices towards black people. Once again, because I'm pro-black doesn't mean I'm anti-white. Okay? And so the question I got for white people is this. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. That was my disclaimer for the day. When have you ever seen an example of racism? Because based on what I see on social media and based on what I hear out there and I turn on Fox News, there has never been a history outside of that slavery thing. Outside of that slavery thing, if you ask white people, some white people, not all, if you ask some white people, there's never been an incident of racism. Well, what about Tamir Rice? 12-year-old kid got shot within 1.2 seconds when the police rolled up on him in the park in Ohio. Oh, well, this is the reason why they shot him. He had to play gun and this, that. Okay. Well, what about Walter Scott in Charleston? He was running away from the police. He got shot in his back 8 times. Oh, well, he should have just listened to the officer. He shouldn't have did this. Well, what about Eric Garner? I mean, the cat was selling cigarettes outside of this store. He was probably doing wrong. They told him not to do it, and they put him in a chokehold. And when they had him in the chokehold, he kept telling them he couldn't breathe, and they were killing him, and they actually killed him. What about that? Oh, he shouldn't have been selling cigarettes, so he should die. What about Mike Brown? What about Alton Sterling? What about Philando Castillo? What about Terrence Trucker? What about Keith Scott? Every single time, no matter what it is. Oh, that's not racism. They had it coming. They did it to themselves. They should have just listened to the police officer. Huh? And so this cat comes on yesterday making all these excuses, on why this lady is not a racist. He's defending this lady that called the president, the first lady, a gorilla, and couldn't understand the point I was trying to make about how this manifested itself in everyday life with her students over the last 25 years. And let me step back for a second. I shouldn't get this upset about something like that. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I'm sorry, I got to step back for a second, man. Yeah. So you ask certain people, give you an example. If you're saying this isn't racism, give me one example, because you've never given one example where actually something is racist. You've never given an example where the color of someone's skin led to their death. You can't give me one example of that. And so I responded back to this cat. You know what, man? There's one idiot. I just responded back to this cat. You know what, man? I thought about trying to kind of dig into your mind and try to understand where you're coming from and why you can't see what we're seeing. But I've come to the realization over the last couple of years, man, that this is fact. That people hear and see what they want to hear and see, and believe what they want to believe. Like, you could tell them it's raining outside, and they'll walk outside, and they'll come back in the house wet, and you'll say, man, it's raining hard out there. They'll say, no, it wasn't raining. Like the biggest evidence of this is, how could you as a rational person, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, how could you as a rational person say that you're going to vote for Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton? No, once again, I got to give a disclaimer. I'm not saying Hillary is the greatest candidate ever, but we just talked about this last week. A third-party candidate is not going to win it. So it's either Trump or it's Hillary. And if you don't vote, or you vote for this third-party candidate, that's a vote in effect. The president said it the day after I talked about it. I didn't even get back into this on the show. The day after I made this point on this show, President Obama and Michelle came out and said the exact same thing I said the day before, pretty much word for word. If you don't vote for Hillary, you're voting for Trump. If you don't vote at all, or if you vote for a third-party candidate, they said this, okay? They repeated exactly what I said. You're, in effect, voting for Donald Trump. And how can a rational person do that? Yeah, man. So, debating with people, when I first started talking about this stuff on social media, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I used to go back and forth with people and debate with people, man. And no matter what I'd say left, they'd say right. I'd say up, they'd say down. I'm like, dude, have you seen the video of Walter Scott getting shot in the back 8 times? Oh, well, but he shouldn't have got out and ran. He should have done what the officer said. All of that stuff. So basically what I've done the last couple of months is I just post my thoughts, man, and I let people interpret it for what it is. Because trying to debate with someone whose mind thinks like that, whether it's conscious or unconscious, It's just futile, man.